Emily Bronte asked the question, why ask to know the date? Would she mean this kind?
Those are so hard.
Which kind of date? We're
How
here.
can they
We're here with morning poetry readings.
imagine the mystery of the seed?
She probably means a daytime. We're reading with Emily Bronte, who's a good poet.
The mystery of a seed. Just a baby so very from the egg.
That's the date.
Bird comes, and from a little seed like that, even smaller, a big tree will come. Too many dates on.
Why it has to know the date? The clime. We ate the date. Why has to know the date? The clime. More than mere words they cannot be. Men knelt to God and worship crime, and crushed the helpless even as we. But they have learnt from length of strife, of civil war and anarchy, to laugh at death and look on life with somewhat lighter sympathy. It was the autumn of the year, the time of laboring peasants' dare. Week after week, from noon to noon, September shone as bright as June. Still never hand a sickle held. The crops were garnered in the field, trod down out and ground by horses' feet, while every ear was milky sweet, and kneaded on the threshing floor with mire of tears and human gore. Some said they thought that heaven's pure rain would hardly bless those fields again. Not so, and all benignant skies rebuked that fear of famished eyes. July passed on with showers and dew, and August glowed in showerless blue. No harvest time could be more fair, had harvest fruits been ripened there, and I confess that hate of rest and thirst for things abandoned now had weaned me from my country's breast and brought me to that land of woe. Enthusiast in a name delighting, my alien sword I drew to free one race beneath two standards fighting for loyalty and liberty. When kindred strive, God help the weak. Oh, a brother's ruth 'tis vain to seek. At first it hurt my chivalry to join them in their cruelty, but I knew hard. I learned to wear an iron front to terror's prayer. I learned to turn my ears away from torture's groans as well as they. By force I learnt what power had I to say the conquered should not die. What heart, one trembling foe to say, when hundreds daily filled the grave. This is a long poem. Yet there were faces that could move a moment's flash of human love, and there were fates that make me feel I was not to the center steel. I've often witnessed wise men fear to meet distress when they foresaw, and seeming cowards nobly bear a doom that thrilled the brave with awe. Strange proofs I've seen how hearts could hide their secret with a lifelong pride, and then reveal it as they died. Strong courage and strange weakness, too, in that last hour when most are true. And timid nature strangely nerved to deeds from which the desperate swerved. These I may tell, but leave them now. Go with me where my thoughts would go. Now, all today and all last night, I've had one scene before my sight. Wood-shadowed dales, a harvest moon, unclouded in its glorious noon, a solemn landscape, white and still, a red fire on a distant hill, a line of fires, and deep below, another dusker, drearier glow. Charred beams and lime and blackened stone, self-piled in cairns over burning bones, and lurid flames that licked the wood, then quenched their glare in pools of blood. But yester-eve, no, never care. Let street and suburb smolter there, smoke hidden in the winding glen. They lay too far to vex my ken. 80 shot down, all veterans strong. One stranger spared, their leader young. He within his house was lain, wounded and weak and nearly dead. He gave him life against his will, for he entreated us to kill. But statue-like we saw his tears, and harshly fell our captain's sneers. Now heaven forbid with scorn, he said, that noble gore our hands should shed like common blood, retain their breath, or scheme. If thou canst purchase death, when men are poor, we sometimes hear, and pitying grant that dastard prayer. When men are rich, we make them buy the pleasant privilege to die. Oh, we have castles reared for kings, embattled towers and buttressed wings. Goodness. Gonna make it? Thrice 3 feet thick and guarded well with chain and bolt and sentinel, we build our despots' dwelling sure, knowing they love to live secure, and our respect for royalty extends to their estate and thee. The suppliant groaned, his moistened eyes swam wild and dim with agony. The gentle blood could ill sustain degrading taunts on honored pain. Bold had he shown himself to lead, eager to smit and proud to bleed, a man amid the battle's storms, an infant in the after calm. Beyond the town his mansion stood, girt round with pasture land and wood, and there our wounded soldiers lying enjoyed the ease of wealth and dying. For him no mortal more than he had softened life with luxury, and truly did our priest declare, oh, of good things he had had his share. We lodged him in an empty place, the full moon beaming on his face through shivered glass and ruins made, where shell and ball and fiercest played. I watched his ghastly couch beside, regardless if he lived or died, nay, muttering curses on the beast, whose ceaseless moans denied me rest. 'Twas hard, I know, 'twas hard to say, hell snatch thy worthless soul away. Then 'twas hard my lids to keep through this long night, estranged from sleep, captive and keeper both outworn, each in his misery yearned for morn, even though returning morning should bring intenser toil and suffering. Slow, slow it came, our dreary room drew drearier with departing gloom, yet as the west wind warmly blew, I felt my pulses bound anew, and turned to him. Nor breeze nor ray revived that mold of shattering clay. Scarce conscious of his pain he lay, scarce conscious that my hands removed the glittering toys his lightness loved. Goodness gracious.
I don't want to hear anymore.
Stop.
Don't read to me.
All right.
That's enough.
This one's too long, huh?
Forever.
Want me to finish it?
I don't want to hear it.
You don't want to hear it?
No.
We have to stop
Poetry.
to her poetry. Her poetry is the war poems. We were reading from...
sickness. That's enough. History, you read it once and that's it. You don't have to enjoy it as poetry.
We were going to eat the date and... why ask to read...
Nice to write.
Why ask to read this poem? The Clime. I don't know why who asked to read this poem? Though I like the poem. But I suggest you finish it on your own. Okay.
That's good.
Bye.
If you didn't have enough.
That was Emily Bronte, the writer of Wuthering Heights.